Hi, I'm your Athens, Georgia County weather girl, and I'm here tonight to talk with you about tornado safety preparedness. So I have experienced a couple of different storms in my life, and I'm going to share some information I've both experienced and also learned over the years about tornado safety preparedness. We are here in Athens, Georgia, just about 24 hours away from a potential very dangerous situation pass through our area. Obviously, folks further to our west in Mississippi and Alabama will be dealing with this very thing in a much greater and more dangerous scale throughout the afternoon. All right, so I'm going to be talking with you about several things. First of all, is about ways to be notified in advance of severe weather. We're going to be talking about some warning signs of severe weather, what to look for or what to listen for. Talking about safe places to be for weathering a tornado. We'll also be talking about protecting your basic property, protecting your family and your pets. And we'll also be going over emergency preparedness kits, and then finally, like what to do after a tornado happens. So we'll get right into it. So I've talked a lot on the channel in my other videos about weather notification apps, and I think it's a wonderful thing. We have actual like computers in our hands. When I was a kid, couldn't imagine something like this would happen, but here we are. They have apps that will notify you of severe weather, among lots of other cool things. And it's important to download one of those applications and test it out and make sure you're comfortable using it, and you have it configured to warn you of tornado warnings or different severe weather. If you anticipate weather to come through in a time when you might be asleep, make sure you have notifications turned on your phone. I sleep at night with Do Not Disturb on most of the time. Tomorrow night, I'm going to turn Do Not Disturb off because I want to be notified in case something does happen. I want as much time as I can to prepare. Another thing to do is to buy a weather radio, and this is a really old school type device here that's still relevant today, still works today. Technology is really simple. National Weather Service offices, they constantly are sending out a radio signal specifically to a certain channel on radio, and these weather radios constantly will broadcast their feeds for you. Throughout the day, you can turn it on and listen to it all day long if you want to, and it'll like just broadcast like the current temperature and expected conditions tomorrow, blah blah blah. And it's I don't know if it still has it. I haven't listened to weather radio in a while, but it used to have this kind of robotic voice. It's kind of soothing and weird at the same time. So like basically, you can turn that portion of it off, and as long as you leave it plugged on and turn on, just you can like kind of basically in a mode where it'll like notify you of severe weather only, and that's what you want. Make sure to have it plugged into a thing in the wall. Don't have just batteries. Because batteries go dead after a while, so you want to have it plugged in pretty much all the time. The one I have pictured here is a Midland. It's a pretty decent one. It's around $70, but you can get them as cheap as like $20 or $30 online, like on eBay or whatever. So something to consider having around, especially if you're in a tornado-prone area, especially out like in Alabama and Mississippi and up in the Midwest or whatever, and even in Georgia during spring. Something we deal with every year. All right, so next we're going to look at some warning signs of tornadoes. So the first couple of things really only apply during daylight hours. When I was a child, around 4 years old, I was alive. I was actually alive and out playing in our front yard. My brothers and I, we noticed that the sky, my brothers noticed it first and pointed it out to me because I was probably oblivious, but we all noticed that the sky was green. And so they went and got our parents, and our parents looked up and saw that, and they immediately got us into the house, into a safe place. They knew what was going on. So what the green is hail. During very severe weather, these storms get really, really tall, and hail kind of cycles up through and back down again. That's how hail starts out as a little ice crystal, and it floats up and down. It kind of builds on itself and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why sometimes you get this like quarter size hail or larger. It just stuff keeps floating around there until it gets so heavy it eventually falls down to the ground. So what happens is sunlight goes through the hail, and through light refraction causes the sky to turn green. So that's what that's all about. When you have hail like that up in the upper level atmosphere, it's a telltale sign that you've got conditions that are ripe for tornado to happen. You don't always have green sky with tornado conditions, but sometimes that can be a telltale sign. Low, very large, big low-lying masses of clouds that are rotating slowly around each other. right? So sometimes you have to kind of like fixate on something closer to you and then look way off in a distance, and it might be moving very, very slowly, but you can see rotation. So we're not looking specifically for a twister. Obviously, if you see that, you've already figured it out. But for systems that don't have a vortex down the ground or coming down, you can still identify systems that are potentially going to drop something through looking through that broad rotation. Uh, so if you hear a sound like a freight train and you don't have a train near you, like a train track near you, then there's a really good chance you've got a tornado nearby. This freight train noise is not like the tornado on the ground tearing stuff up. I mean that's probably going to make some racket itself. It's just in the upper atmosphere. It's just the air whooshing. That's what that freight train is. As the tornado gets closer and closer, this noise is going to get louder and louder. The barometric pressure is going to drop. You might hear feel your ears want to pop a little bit. So by that point, you should already be in your safe place. But having a very loud and continuous roar is a telltale sign the tornado is near. Sometimes a sudden stillness after thunderstorm rolls through is another indicator. Really depends. I'm really not seeing that much in my experiences, but that might be something that the folks in Midwest have a little more experience with. So just pay attention to your surroundings. Obviously, at nighttime, you can't see the sky, and you're basically just at the mercy of your weather apps at that point. Safe place. So you need to assess your immediate area. If you are in your house, your apartments, or if you're your place of work, identify areas to quickly go to in the event of a tornado warning. And those areas need to be the lowest floor possible, away from doors and windows. Lowest floor possible, away from doors and windows. All right. So if you're in an apartment and you're on the fourth floor, and God forbid, if you've got like an EF5 coming at you, you do not want to be in the interior room on the fourth floor of a building, because it may not end well for you. So become friends with your neighbors on the lower floors. It doesn't have to be all the way down the very bottom. It can be on the second floor even, but just get somewhere close to the bottom. Become friends with your neighbors. If you've got to go downstairs, just knock on doors until someone comes and lets you in. Do it. And likewise, if you are in an apartment building on a lower floor, be neighborly. Get to know your friends upstairs. Like, you don't have to become like best buddies with them, but just get to know them, so that you can invite them in case severe weather like this happens. They have somewhere safe to be. If you are living in a mobile home or a modular type home, that is the absolutely worst place you can be during a tornado. When I was 14 years old, I went with a group to survey damage after a very widespread tornado outage, EF4, back during the 1980s. We surveyed damage from this, and one of the visions that I saw, in addition to just going through swaths of lands with trees just flattened everywhere, was going through a mobile home park and seeing the remnants and of like mobile home, these big steel frames that were just wrapped around oak trees, just like pretzels. And wow, the tornadoes are so incredibly strong. So mobile home is the last place you want to be. If you are in a mobile home, if you've got time to get to if you've got a neighbor's house that has like a basement or a shelter you can go to, and you've got reasonable time to get there in time, go do that. If this thing is coming down really fast on you and you don't have time to get 500 feet to your neighbor's house, you've got a ditch somewhere nearby you, go to it and lay face down into it and let this stuff go overhead. Do not stay in your mobile home. It will not end well for you. If you're in a vehicle or traveling, this is a little harder and a little more dangerous because you don't have time to get out your phone and figure out where things are or where things are going or coming. So if you are notified of a system and while you're traveling down the road, if you are able to get somewhere where you can have visibility, if it's in the daytime, you kind of see what's going on. If it's at nighttime, you got to assume that something's coming straight for you. And the safest thing you can do, I know it sounds kind of gross and scary, is to pull your car over on the side of the road, get out of the car. If you've got your passengers or you kids or friends, you get out of the car and get in a ditch and lie face down. Especially if you're starting to hear that roaring sound I mentioned before. You got to get in a ditch and get face down. Don't stay in your car. It's not a safe place to be. The storm, if it is a strong tornado, it'll blow that car for hundreds of miles, and bad things will happen. It probably won't blow your car for hundreds of miles. I exaggerated this tiny bit on that, but it will definitely blow your car over, or it could blow things into your car, through your window. Just tornadoes are very, very dangerous. Last thing you want to do is to get under a bridge during a tornado. All right, so like people have died. It's very well documented. So when like if you imagine like the little triangle part of the overpass, and you think you can kind of walk up there and just hang out in that little crook and nanny up there, that is like the worst place you could be. It's inverse of what you think. You think, oh, I'm protected by everything around me, but what happens is the wind through the tornado goes through the bridge, and it acts as a venturi, and the wind speeds up, and it actually speeds up faster and faster as the opening gets narrower. So the wind is going fastest in that very top little corner. So people have died just literally because the tornado's blowing around all kinds of crap. Like it's just dirt, sand particles, like little stones, little like bristles off of a broom, pieces of wood, shingles, nails, screws, you name it, flying through the air at 200 miles an hour, right through your body. Like it's people have died this way, and it's not a safe place to be. So don't park under a bridge. Just don't do it. I know it's tempting to. You think that's the natural safe place to be. Find somewhere else to be in a ditch. All right, just hard facts here. So protecting your property. If you've got time, and most of us won't have time because you might get a notification, have 10 minutes to act. But if you have time, you can move your car away from tall trees out into an open parking lot to kind of protect them. If you know weather's coming well in advance, like we know tomorrow there's a good chance they're going to have weather across the southeast, might want to put your car somewhere safe, like in a parking deck, and this Uber back home or whatever. Secure your outdoor furniture, bring it inside. If you've got a big trampoline, for God's sake, chain it down. Like chain it. Don't tie it down with some string. Chain it down to a tree. Like just because those things can become projectiles, which damage stuff and could injure animals and people. So just make sure you have things secured. Next thing is we're going to talk about family and pet safety. This is very important. So if you've got a family and you are all like, in the neighborhood or like hanging out in the yard or whatever, like, just make sure you have a meeting spot in your house so everybody knows to come. If your family is 10 minutes away and notification says you've got 15 minutes or so, do not have your family rush home, because they're going to rush home right in the middle of a tornado. Just have them shelter where they are. Make sure you have ID tags on your pets and you have a carrier handy. Pets are going to get anxious. Some of them might try and bolt and get really scared during inclement weather. As I mentioned before, the pressure drops and it causes pets, animals to kind of, they kind of know what's going on. So they're going to be afraid, and they're going to be looking for you for comfort and safety. Make sure and store your important documents in a waterproof and portable container, so you can kind of carry with you. All right, emergency preparedness kit. So you don't have to have anything super duper fancy. You can buy these little kits online, and they're not that expensive. But you're going to make sure you have a flashlight with extra batteries or a charge pack, first aid kit with band-aids and bandages and such, some water. Most of us have a few days of non-perishable food already, like cans of green beans or ravioli or whatever. Just have some stuff. Not just only for yourself, and if, God forbid, if your neighbors get blown out, then just have a little bit. Take care of your immediate peoples. Sturdy shoes and gloves for post-storm safety. So have some good work boots and some work gloves. Just to have that handy. If you've got a chainsaw, if you've got tools, you might want to have those in your safety area, just so you can work. But we're gonna get to the next thing about chainsaws and safety. Avoid down power lines. Don't go out trying to remove. Don't fix stuff. Just don't be a hero. To stay away from down power lines. What happens if a tree falls on a power line, a branch falls on it, and you go to pick up the branch? The branch is charged, and you could get you could electrocuted. A lot of voltage go through your body, and you could die. So just stay well away from down power lines. Even if you're not really sure, it might be a cable line or power line. Just assume it's a power line and stay away from it. Avoid heavily damaged structures. If something does get wrecked during a tornado, don't go exploring it. If you hear cries for help coming from that structure, then get yourself a couple or three people, get a team, and coordinate together on how best to get the people some help, and work quickly. Obviously, if you smell gas, make sure and call 911 and report that immediately. The last thing you want is after a tornado is for your house to explode or your whole neighborhood to go up in flame. That'd be pretty horrible. So hopefully these preparedness tips are helpful for you, and hopefully they don't cause you to feel more anxiety of a very anxious situation with incoming weather such as we may have here in the southeast tomorrow. More than likely are going to have, especially over towards Alabama and Mississippi. I hope everyone is safe tomorrow, and I hope these tips are helpful, especially for folks who aren't as familiar with what to do during a tornado. I've experienced a couple of these in my life, and I hope that this information is helpful. So for now, that'll be it. I hope you are well and that you continue to be well after tomorrow. We'll talk to you the next time.